Welcome to another episode of Watch Me Do Family History with Chris Knudsen. Today we're going to do a little bit more descendancy work, and so I'd like to invite you to follow me along and see how I do my family history. Let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at my fan chart, my family tree, and we're going to be starting with George Golding, my grandfather on my mom's side, and I'm just going to pick an ancestor at random here. And I like to stay within the United States. So blue means United States. So let's click on Polly Sawyer. And I'm going to click on her fan chart. So Polly Sawyer, brown means British colonial America. So blue and brown is still in America. And let's go to Josiah Terrell. I've never looked at this ancestor before. So we're going to click at Josiah Terrell, and we're looking at his fan chart. And let's go ahead and change from fan chart to descendancy view. So we're going to click on descendancy view, and I have Josiah Terrell married to Hannah Abigail Libby. And they have two daughters, Mary Terrell and Hannah Terrell. Since I come through Hannah Terrell, let's try going down through Mary Terrell. So I'm going to click on Mary Terrell. And here we have Mary had more than one spouse. The first spouse was Daniel Dimmick. Second spouse was Elijah Janes. So here we are. Let's just to keep things simple, let's start with the first husband and the first child. So we have Phoebe Dimmick, and there's an arrow here, which means that she got married. So we're going to click on that. And Phoebe, oh, by the way, my goal is to come back forward to where somebody lives within the 1850 census. So I don't click on any of these people. I don't do research on people that didn't live in the 1850 census. So here we have Phoebe Dimmick married James Hawkins, and they've got lots of children and two that have spouses. So we're going to pick the first one, Phoebe Hawkins. And Phoebe Hawkins had several children and married a Jedediah Gear. So Jedediah Gear, and they had a son named Jedediah Gear who was born in 1782. Let's click on his arrow, and he married a Salome White, and they had three children, two of which have marriages. And let's click on Sidney A. Gear, and we have a spouse, Eliza Swan. So this chart ends, and we don't know if they had any children. And if they did have children by the age of 30, their children, Sidney would have been 1837 if he was 30 years old. So if they had children when he was 30, their children would be 13 years old in the 1850 census. So we may be able to find something. And over here on the far right, we have a record hint, this blue square box. So let's click on that real quick and see what kind of a hint it is. Okay, it's a marriage record. So let's click on Sidney Gear and see what kind of marriage record this is. So they were married in 1833. So Sidney Gear married Eliza Swan in 1833. That's a good guess. So their children would be 17, oldest child would be 17 years old in the 1850 census. So I think we can go ahead and let's work on this line and see what we can find. So first I'm going to click on, I'm going to go back to Sidney Gear, and I'm going to click on that person, and I'm going to right click on the person page. By right clicking, it opens up into the link in a new tab, because I want to keep this descendancy chart here for future reference. So I'm going to click on the next tab with Sidney Gear, and we know he has a record hint, a marriage record. He also has 4 other sources attached. So let's go ahead and click on that and look and see what that says. Oh, we already have an 1850 census, an 1860 census, and a find a grave record. So let's look at that 1850 census first. So in 1850, 13 years after their marriage, Sydney's there living with Eliza Gear and Salome Gear, which is Sydney's mom, and a John B. Jones, who's 6 years old. Why do they have a 6-year-old living with them? I wonder who this John B. Jones is. Okay, so let's look at the 1860 census and see what we can see. So scroll down and we'll click at the 1860 census. So Sidney A. Gear, he's 53. Living in Illinois. And he must be related to these people somehow, but he's not living with his wife. D.A. Hannah E. Greer, D.A. Greer, James A. Greer. Who are these people? Let's see if we can figure out who D.A. Greer is. So we're going to go back to details. I wonder if D.A. Greer is Jedediah Greer. Who did he marry? So we're going to open up his person page. Open the link. Okay, Jedediah Greer married Anna Eliza Arnold. And they had all these kids. So let's go back to Sydney and open up that 1870 census again. Hannah E. Greer. They had James, Sydney, Melinda, Milton. James, Sydney, Melinda, Milton. Okay, so now we know Sydney is Jedediah's brother, and he went and lived with them. And let's go back and click on... and their mom, Salome Greer, is also living with them. Okay, so D.A. Greer. Let's see here. So J.A. Greer is really... Am I related to this person? Yes. So it doesn't look like Sydney Greer and Eliza Swan had any children. So let's go ahead and look at Jedediah Greer's line. And we've got lots of children, and some of them are on this census record. So let's go back to that census record. 1860. Louisa and Frank and Hiram and Milton. So we have Louise, Frank, Hiram, Milton. Louisa, Frank, Hiram, Milton. Louisa, Benjamin, Frank, Hiram, and Milton. So Milton died in 1864 when he was 20, so he probably didn't get married and have kids. Hiram died in 1882 and was 38 years old. Doesn't show him having any children, but there is a record hint. So let's go ahead and click on that record hint. 1880 census. So in 1880, he would have been an adult. Was he married? No, he was single. So if he died in 1888 and he was living with Anna E. Greer, his mom. Okay. So there's two Hiram Smith Greers. So those people need to be merged at some point in time. Let's go ahead and click on James A. Gear. See if there's anybody missing children. Morrow J. Wilson, 1892, died in 1966. No spouse listed. Let's click on his. He's got 10 sources, so more than likely he. Well, let's go ahead and look. 1910, 1930. He would have been 38 in 1930. So he's still living with his dad, Amos Wilson. And he's single, and he's 37. So let's go back. So we're not going to follow that line. Okay, so let's pick the next child, Mary Ann Gear. And Glenn, all these two already got married. So that line is fully done. That line is fully done. Excuse me. So let's close James A. Gear and go back down to Sidney A. Gear. So Alma got married. Mary May Gear doesn't look like she got married, or is not listed as having been married. Hiram died as a child. Eugene Gear died as a child. So let's look at Alma. D. Forrest Holmes. So this person was born in 1891 and died in 1899, so they obviously didn't get married. Derry Holmes got married. Neil Holmes died at age 2, did not get married. Louise Caleb Lewis, 1905. That looks like a mistake. It's listed as a girl. Let's click on that. So we're going to click on person, and we're going to open the link in a new tab. I'm going to close these other two. Lois Caleb Holmes. 0 sources. There's a possible duplicate. Let's click on that. And I'm going to right click on that, open in a new link. So we've got both of them next to each other. Oh, that's what I thought. Boy, girl. Boy, girl. Boy, girl. As a boy, he has 1 source. 1930 census, Nebraska marriages. Married an Irene E. Wall in 1930. There's a 1910 census. Let's look at that. Grace A. Holmes is listed as the mother, and a brother named Daryl. Let's see if that fits this character. Grace. Okay, so Grace makes sense. 1874. Born in 1874. This is the 1910 census. Grace would have been 74. 76. 1876. Birthplace, Illinois. 1874. Birthplace, Illinois. Her parents were born in Illinois and Illinois. Her parents were born in Illinois and Illinois. Okay, so this could be Lewis at age 5. So let's go ahead and fix that. So you have this Lewis C. Holmes who's a boy, and this Lewis Caleb Holmes who's a girl. And let's change her to a boy, since in the census we found he was a boy. And now let's go ahead and merge the two together. So the surviving one should be the one with the most details. Let's switch, because this Lewis, so Caleb is the middle name. We'll have to, I think we should swap that. So yes, continue. I think they're the same person. Let's replace the name, because this is a fuller name. Born in 1904, died in 1976, had a spouse. Have parents, marriage, and let's merge. So, reason why this is correct, these two people are the same because they have the same name and birth and same mom. Now, the interesting thing was that this Lewis had a wife but didn't have parents, and now this Lewis has parents. So we were able to add that. Okay, so now Irene Elizabeth Wall. Every time I add a spouse, so this is a new spouse to my tree. She was already on the tree though, just married to a different Lewis. So I'm going to open her up in a new tab. And I want to see if I'm related to her. Okay, by marriage. But I'm not related to her parents. No relationship found. Let's look at his tree. Fan chart. That's why. He just doesn't go back far enough. Okay, and back. So we just added Irene Elizabeth Wall, but she was born in 1916, so we can't do her temple work. Plus, she's already had her temple work done because she's not really a new person. So let's go back to Lewis. And details. And let's go ahead and so Lewis only has one source attached. It doesn't even have a birthplace. Did I forget to add that? Let's go ahead and add some stuff. So we've got Lewis Holmes, Social Security, state, Nebraska, residence, Washington, birth date, 25 November 1904, death date, September 1976. Okay, so this is a good record. We're gonna match. We're gonna attach. Okay. Next one, find a grave. Let's check and see if this is the same Lewis. Yep, birth dates, death dates match. Burial is in Menlo, Pacific County, Washington. This one has burial as Fern Hill, Pierce, Washington. Interesting. And let's go ahead and look at the image and see if they have a birthplace. No birthplace listed. We'll go ahead and attach. And (1940) census, there we go. Let's review and attach. This will have his birthplace, Nebraska. So we're going to add the census information. So this says he's currently living in Nebraska. 5 years ago he was living in Nebraska, and he was born in Nebraska. Irene was born in Nebraska. So let's attach that. And they have a child, but the child could still be alive because they might be 90. No, 86 years old. So we're not going to add that child yet. Let's close that. So let's change, well, let's attach this other record. Birth, Atlanta, Nebraska. So that's a fuller birthplace. So that's where he was drafted. We'll add that. He was living in Phelps, Nebraska. I just forgot again. Atlanta, Nebraska. Okay, so we're going to add that now. Birthplace, Atlanta, Nebraska. Atlanta, Phelps, Nebraska. And let's go ahead and add this death index just for fun. Okay. So when we hit refresh, you know what? Let's take, just so we don't get lost, I'm going to take Sidney Greer, and we're going to open his tree in a new tab. So Sidney Greer, we took their child Alma, and we took their son Lewis, since that's new. So let's go ahead and move on. So Alma, Lewis, Caleb Holmes. Okay, Dairy Homes, Thelma. So these people have temple work that's not done yet. Thelma. So let's look at Derry. Is that even a real name? Parents are Louis C. Holmes, who died in 1904, and Alma Grace. So let's open up Derry Holmes and see if we can find him anywhere. Probably more likely to find him living with his father. No, living with the mom, because the mom was still alive, and her name was Grace. Was he in that 1910 census that we saw from Lois? Lewis, I mean? I forgot. Sources. Oh, the 1910 census that didn't exist? I could have swore we saw one. Let's see if we can find it. Here it is. Darrell B. and Lewis L.C. Yeah, there it is. D. Forrest had died before then. So did Neil. So the only two siblings left were Darrell and Lewis. No wonder we don't have any sources. His name is Darrell B. Holmes. So let's change that. Edit. Darrell B. and save. Now, when we do the search on Family Search, we should be able to find the 1910 census. There it is. Click on that, living with his mom and his brother, and we're going to attach this record. And let's attach his mom. And we'll attach his brother. Okay, now there's also a 1940 census and a death record in California. He was living in the Virgin Islands in 1940. Let's see if that's him. Married, it says. Head of household, but it doesn't list his children. What's he doing in St. Thomas? Birthplace, Nebraska. Age, birth year around 1901. So this matches. Let's look at the photo of the census and see if we can see what it says. Boy, that's really small print. So we're looking for Holmes, Darrell Holmes, and Thelma, and daughter Shirley. So we just proved that Darrell got married to a Thelma, and they had a daughter named Shirley. Okay, so that's 1940. Shirley was 8 years old, so we're not going to find her in another census, but Thelma is 36. So in the 1940 census, that means she was born in 1904 about. So Thelma, born in 1904, and she was also born in Nebraska. Their daughter was born in California. Okay, so let's go back and add Thelma, born in 1904, Nebraska. Oh, it is there already. Thelma, born in 1904, Nebraska. And let's go ahead and find that census. We have to change her last name to Holmes, otherwise we won't find her in the 1940 census. There we are. Review and attach. I wonder what the story is behind this. I've never attached a record from St. Thomas. And let's close that. And here's 1930, living in California, where their daughter was born. So let's attach that. And Daryl. And they have other people living there with them as lodgers. Okay, so we just did enough today to find information necessary for Thelma to make her a real person. So now we can take her to the temple. So I'm going to go ahead. We're not going to take her to the temple yet. Oh, Daryl needs a place of birth. Didn't we do that? Nebraska. Daryl has a place of birth. It's Nebraska. There we go. So now it's reloading this. We're going to request his temple work. And let's go to his wife. And we're going to request, ooh, possible duplicate. That's what always happens. You add somebody and they end up having a duplicate on the census, or on the tree, I mean. But maybe they don't have. So this duplicate has birth of 1905 Nebraska. Very similar. Parents were Thomas Jefferson Meisner and Anna Barbara Fankhauser. So we have no way of knowing for sure if that's the right person, but I would guarantee that it is. Let me just click on her. Let's go look at this person. So baptism, confirmation, initiatory endowment has been completed. Sealing to parents has been reserved. Sealing to spouse cannot be requested because they don't have the spouse, but we have the spouse. So by us doing more work, we'll be able to get this couple ready to be sealed. Someone else has already done most of the work, and we'll just make sure that the full amount gets done. We're going to go ahead and stop here. So you can see how just doing family history for half an hour, you can find a new person that might need more temple work. And If you would like help doing your family history, feel free to leave a message and an ID number of the person on the family tree that you'd like me to do research for, and I can help you out. I prefer doing descendancy work, and I'd prefer people in the 1850s or later, and in the United States. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, Watch Me Do Family History, to see more videos like this. Thanks, and have a good day.